your dreams.
Me, my nightmare? What are you doing? Rusty Jane.
Listen, babe, I'm coming over tonight.
Rusty Jane, I'm not allowed to have boyfriends over and lovers out.
Since when?
Since I first started having boyfriends.
Oh, yeah? When was this?
When I was 9.
Get back in there, Don. First time I ever heard about it.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen you in a long time.
What? I've been busy, man.
So I've heard.
Hey, listen, I'm coming over tonight, so you better roll out the red carpet.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Hey, you're crazy about me, you know that?
I am?
Well, yes, actually, she is. Diane Lane and Matt Dillon in Francis Ford Coppola's Rumblefish. That's one of 4 new movies we'll be reviewing this week at the movies. And across the aisle from me is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune.
And across the aisle from me, Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times. Now, in addition to Rumblefish, we'll also be reviewing Julie Christie's first film in a number of years, Heat and Dust. It's set in India. Also, Michael Caine as a drunken British professor in educating Rita. And now Roger begins with an adventure film called Never Cry Wolf.
It's a good one. Our first movie is a very exciting, yet also a very emotionally complicated movie about man and nature. It's called Never Cry Wolf, and it's about a year in the life of a government scientist whose assignment is to study the eating habits of the wild Arctic wolves by living among them. The scientist is a sort of goofy eccentric played by Charlie Martin Smith, and in this scene he's just been dumped alone in the middle of the unlimited Alaskan wilderness, and he sees his first wolf. Film's best scenes, the scientist is sunbathing when he's suddenly surrounded by a herd of caribou stampeded by ravenous wolves. Don't you kind of get the feeling there of how inadequate man is as an animal?
It's wild.
It's a good thing we got civilized. That scene really captures what happens in this movie, which is that the guy from civilization, the scientist with his pipe and his radio and his 6-week supply of beer, he gets absorbed into the awesome mysteries of nature. He finds his wolves, a pair of wolves and their 3 cubs, and as he watches them, he begins to respect and even love them. The photography of the wolves in this movie is unforgettable. In fact, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen about man's relationship with the other animals on this planet.
I loved it too. I think it's absolutely terrific, and I know it's going to get a lot of attention for the photography of nature in the film. It was done by, the film was directed by Carol Ballard, who did The Black Stallion. This is sort of the white wolf, if you will. At the same time, I want to credit this young actor. His name, as you said, is Charlie Martin Smith. We've seen him as sort of a cut-up, crazy character in American Graffiti. He played the four-eyed kid, the awkward kid. His heart is so pure in trying to be a better person. He says in the narration at the beginning of the film, that's why he goes on this experiment, that we really care so much for him as a person.
And
we'd follow him anywhere. This guy could have been in the middle of a city,
and he does become a better person. But what is fascinating about the end of this film is that it doesn't end with one of these great noble endings where there's a sun setting and man and nature and everything is terrific. It ends on a very complicated note where this guy realizes that just by using his eyes to look at these wolves, he's brought other men, and in a way he's destroyed the environment that he grew to love as much as the wolves do.
I know, but as pure as the wolves are, you know, because that's communicated. This guy is a very pure, marvelous character.
Good performance.
Okay, coming up next at the movies, the latest from the director of The Godfather.
You always try so hard to be like your brother, Rusty James.
Hey, my brother's the coolest.
Well, you're better than cool. You're warm.
The RCA Digital Command Center is a remote control for your new RCA Color Track 2000. But this unique remote does more than control your TV. It also controls a new RCA video cassette recorder and video disc player. One remote control for total control. The RCA Digital Command Center, a giant step forward at the touch of a finger. We'll open your eyes.
Going to your office must be fun.
Not always.
Then let me be the grown-up.
Okay.
I'll drive you to school. After you brush with Colgate.
I love that minty taste.
Me too, and Colgate helps fight cavities.
With MFP fluoride.
Of course.
The maximum fluoride protection a toothpaste can give.
And it tastes great. Oops, I'll be late for work.
Will you still take me to school?
Colgate Regular and Winter Fresh Gel. 2 great tastes, maximum fluoride protection.
Oh, Mom, they'll be here any minute, and I've got a headache.
Sweetheart, take 3. Anacin 3.
But just today, the doctor said no aspirin.
No aspirin in Anacin 3, and no caffeine.
Anacin 3 is 100% aspirin-free with the aspirin-free ingredient doctors recommend most.
Headache's gone, Mom. I can always count on you.
And Anacin 3.
You look great.
Anacin 3, 100% aspirin-free and caffeine-free.
Here's a trash bag like no other. The new Glad handle-tie trash bag. One snap, you've got 2 handles. Just tie them together to close the bag tight. No twist ties to come off. The handles are tough, too. So this bag does a lot more than just hold the trash. This bag helps you get a handle on it. Real sensible. The new Glad handle-tie trash bag makes that long haul to the curb seem shorter. Get Glad handle-tie bags for your kitchen, too.
Rumblefish is the latest film from director Francis Ford Coppola, who unfortunately seems to have lost his way since the high points of his career, the 2 Godfather movies and the first half of Apocalypse Now. Rumblefish tells the story of problem kids from broken homes, particularly one young kid named Rusty James, played by young actor Matt Dillon. Rusty James doesn't really know his mother. His father is an alcoholic, and his older brother is a suicidal motorcycle-riding gang member. That's why Rusty James has difficulty relating calmly to his girlfriend, played by the young actress Diane Lane. The movie was filmed in black and white.
What's the matter, babe? Come on. Cheer up.
You told me you wouldn't be fighting all the time.
Well, this isn't all the time. This is just this once, right?
You always say that. You always try so hard to be like your brother, Rusty James.
Hey, my brother's the coolest.
Well, you're better than cool. You're warm.
Yeah, but he's smart.
You're smart. You're just not word smart.
Yeah? I love you, but I gotta run. Okay? All right, I'll see you later.
Yeah. Be careful. I love you.
Lights.
Now, in addition to his parents, that cool brother of Rusty James is also a problem. In this scene, the 2 brothers talk about their troubled past. Rusty has a fear of being left alone.
Damn, being left alone, man. I really can't. I feel like I'm getting choked. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm being choked. See, I can deal with it.
See, when you were 2 years old, I was 6. Your mother decided to leave. You know, she took me with her. When the old man found out, he went on a 3-day drunk. He told me it was the first time he ever got drunk.
Come on, Snatch,
get off. Liked it.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
Hey, sweetie, would you like a day? Huh?
What were you saying? Go ahead.
I said he told me it was the first time he ever got drunk. And anyway, you see, he left you alone in the house for those 3 days. And we didn't live where we do now. It was a very large house. And, anyway, what happened was, eventually she dumped me and they took me back, to the old man. He sobered up enough to go home. I suppose that's how you developed your fear of being alone.
You never told me that before.
Hold it right there a sec, man. Just a second.
No. I didn't think it'd be any good.
A couple of young actors playing tough guys. Rumblefish is a heartfelt movie, and the black and white photography is moody and attractive, depicting kind of a smoky hell, and it has an interesting soundtrack too, but the story comes across, for me at least, as much too mannered, too artificial for all of its gutty realism of contemporary kids and their contemporary problems. Matt Dillon gets to be boring after a while, frankly, with his James Dean impersonation. Mickey Rourke, the older brother there, whispering, he gets kind of annoying too with all the whispering. And Dennis Hopper is really annoying as the father, the drunk father. In short, there are plenty of kids in the world who have a tough time growing up, and you really do feel sorry for them. But there's a hip smugness to the Matt Dillon character in Rumblefish, and sorry, but I never felt sorry for him at all, and that's why I didn't like the movie.
Well, first of all, his hip smugness, I think, is his defense mechanism. But secondly, and I did like the movie, and I admired it as a very interesting offbeat experiment by Coppola, I think you're missing the whole point if you're reviewing the story and saying, well, we can't really feel sorry for these kids, the other kids with tough problems and so forth. This movie is a stylistic exercise in black and white. Coppola calls it an art film for kids, an art film for teenagers, and I think that's how it plays, kind of like Diva crossed with the Blackboard Jungle, with all those clouds scuttling across the sky in fast motion and all the dramatic shots. That's how it plays. It's atmosphere and mood and behavior, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, but Roger, I reviewed the atmosphere, the soundtrack, and the music, and I liked every one of those things. And yet, it still wasn't enough for me, this kid, that he also included actors in there, and he also included a story in there. And just to focus on one aspect of the film isn't enough for me. He can call it whatever he wants to, but I'm looking at the whole picture there, and I found that kid repellent, when by all rights, I should really feel for his story.
Weren't you touched with a kind of... With anything, not even the three exampple I was going to give. You were totally untouched.
Even when, you just said the part of the word his, and that's when I checked out.
Well, I guess I'm not going to be able to convert you, but I don't know. I thought that it was a really interesting film, and I thought that it did work.
Interesting looking, you're absolutely right.
And it would be great to have on your cassette at home and to listen to that music, but never mind. I'll get back to you on that one. Our next movie is Heat and Dust, and it's the story of two love affairs. Both of them take place in India. Both of them take place between Indian men and British women, and both of them involve unexpected pregnancies. But one takes place in the 1920s, and the other one takes place in the present day. The movie looks at the way India has changed in those years, and relationships there have changed. Here's a scene from earlier in the story. A British woman goes to visit the household of the local Maharaja, the man she's destined to love.
Mrs. Rivers is the wife of our assistant collector, and we are privileged indeed to have so charming a couple in our midst.
Have you been to India before?
No.
Ginny,
this is absolutely my first time, and I couldn't be more thrilled.
ये इनका पहला मौका है और इनकी आंखें चकाचौंध हो गई हैं, लुत्फ की इंतहा नहीं।
आपकी शादी कितनी मुद्दत हुई?
How long have you been married?
6 months. We were married in England, but I only followed my husband out here a few weeks ago.
इनकी शादी महज 6 माह पहले इंग्लिस्तान में हुई थी, लेकिन अपने शौहर के पास ये भी 1 हफ्ता हुआ है आई हैं।
Any children?
We were married in September.
जश्न में बेटी तुम्हें ज्यादा थकाया तो नहीं? She hopes that the Durbar wasn't too tiring for you.
Oh, I loved every moment of it. It looked splendid and was so well done. It was thrilling to see your son.
I always like to hear the Qatar national anthem.
I'm terribly proud of him. He's terrifically handsome.
How's it go?
He'd cause a sensation in any London drawing room.
Many years later, that woman's great niece, played by Julie Christie, also goes out to India and also gets involved.
Indalal's family always comes to the annual religious festival at the tomb built by Amanullah Khan, the Nawab's ancestor. Amanullah Khan built the shrine for a Muslim saint, but now it's a sacred place for both Hindus and Muslims. That's the way things happen in India. Everything gets mixed up and absorbed. Shadi, shadi, meaning marriage. That's what they keep asking me. Why aren't you married? How come you don't have a husband? No children? How can you live like that? I told them, why don't you find someone really nice for me? So they asked Margie to provide a candidate. Margie's a sort of wise woman whom everyone consults about their problems. She said God will provide, which is her usual response.
Get a real feeling for India in both of those scenes. Heat and Dust is a film that depends a lot on atmospheres. You can tell that from the title, Heat and Dust. It was shot in India by producer Ismail Merchant and director James Ivory. Two men have made half a dozen good films on the British in India. Their best was probably Shakespeare Wallow. This is their second best. It's not just history and social behavior, and it's not just about India. It's about two flesh and blood stories about two different kinds of discrimination, racial and sexual. The British women are white, sure, but they're also women. They're lower caste, and their love stories create very difficult situations in an Indian society that places great importance on social status and conformist behavior. The movie is romantic and colorful and atmospheric and very complicated and very good.
I had a strange reaction to this film. While I watched it, I wasn't bored in the slightest way, and yet at some level it didn't move me. I don't know whether it's my problem with India, but the hypnotic pull that India had on these two characters, I didn't find it having on me. I don't know whether I knew where the story was going, all the places, or certainly where it was going to end up with the merging of the characters. I just can't figure it out. It's not bad. It's not a bad film.
Well, I think with a film like this, and you could tell it from the scenes we looked at, you have two things, basically. First of all is the exoticism of India.
Yes.
All this location shooting, all the traditions, all the ways that people behave, the clothes, and all that stuff that you always get in a foreign film, no matter where the film is set. And then secondly, I think you're right that these women are drawn there by something and we don't know what it is necessarily. It's within themselves, but that was okay with me. You know, I didn't need to have it spelled out, so it didn't bother me.
Okay. Coming up next at the movies, can an alcoholic professor teach poetry to a working-class hairdresser? That's the premise of our next film.
I wanted to shout out and warn him and tell him like that.
You didn't, did you?
Oh, they just throw me out the theater.
Our next film is Educating Rita, a film about a drunken English professor played by Michael Caine trying to educate a working-class hairdresser named Rita. This is the first time they meet. Rita has come to Caine's college office for her first evening school lesson.
Come in. For God's sake, come in.
I'm coming in, aren't I? It's that stupid bleeding handle on the door. You want to get it fixed?
Yes, I meant to.
Well, that's no good, is it? Always meaning to. You want to get on with it, because one of these days you'll be shouting, come in, and it'll go on forever, because the poor sod on the other side won't be able to get in, and you won't be able to get out.
And you are?
I'm a what?
Huh?
What?
And you are? What is your name?
Me first name?
Well, that would at least constitute some sort of start, wouldn't it?
Rita.
Rita. Here we are. Rita. It says here, Mrs. S. White.
Oh, yes, that's S for Susan. That's just my real name. But I'm not a Susan anymore. I changed my name to Rita. You know, after Rita Mae Brown?
No.
Rita Mae Brown, who wrote Ruby Fruit Jungle. No. Have you read it? It's a fantastic book, you know. Do you want to lend it?
Yes. Well, thank you very much.
Okay. And what do they call you around here?
Sir. But you may call me Frank.
That's kind of cute, sort of a Pygmalion, My Fair Lady kind of situation developing there. That was Julie Walters as Rita. Unfortunately, this movie doesn't stay cute. It tries for a much bigger target, becoming one of those stories where the teacher and the student trade places eventually, and Rita tries to get the teacher to stop drinking, to take his own poetry seriously. The second half of the film doesn't really work so well. It's not convincing that all of this is happening in front of us so quickly in just one movie, and so we end up admiring more the performances than the film. A mixed, slightly negative review from me.
I think I liked it less than you did. I have a couple of complaints. First of all, I saw the play on the stage where it's a two-character play. Here they add her parents, her husband, his lover, his lover's lover, the head of the English department, the faculty committee, and all of these subplots are rolling along, which have nothing to do with the basic relationship, which is that these two people are going to use literature in order to change her life. And the problem is, in the movie, literature is like magic. You never get the feeling they're really reading a novel or really reading a poem and finding something. They're just using names. Wordsworth, Blake, as if they're magic charms. It doesn't have any feeling for literature at all.
It's sort of, isn't it funny that she's so dumb, and then isn't it funny or sort of tragic that he's so self-hating at the end, and it's just sort of happening because the director wants it to happen. What's interesting, though, to me is how good this woman is, Julie Walters, in that character. I like that character. I wouldn't mind running across that woman in real life.
Okay, well, good luck.
Okay.
Coming up next is the movies Aroma, the Educated Skunk, ferreting out the week's worst movie.
That'll be last time you'll drink white wine with roast beef.
Suck it in.
It is sucked in.
Everybody's got a diet right. It doesn't matter who you are. It's gonna be a tough fight. So give yourself the greatest taste.
So give yourself the greatest taste. Diet Right. It's the one that's salt-free.
Everybody's got a diet right. Everybody's got a diet right.
I've never seen anything so thick.
Me neither. Sure is good.
Good. What's good about it?
It's so thick.
Well, why is that good? You can hardly see through it.
Hershey's Big Block. So thick, so good.
I like it thick.
That's nuts.
No, it's not. It's milk chocolate.
Hershey's Big Blocks. So thick, so good.
First came table model video recorders, then the portable. Now the best of both, RCA's new 900 convertible, the most advanced VCR ever. At home, it's a fully featured table model, the first with 5 heads instead of 4. And the only table model that's portable, instantly portable, no cables. So when you leave home, it converts to a complete movie outfit that leaves other VCRs behind.
The RCA 900 convertible. There is no equal.
And now, after a couple of weeks off, it's Aroma, the Educated Skunk. He's finally found a stinker of the week worth knocking. Aroma is back. Roger has the review.
Well, my stinker this week is a so-called comedy named Stuck on You that's had some kind of record for offending different ethnic, social, sexual, and occupational minority groups. Doesn't matter who you are or what you are, there is sure to be something in this movie to make you very angry and offended. The movie's about palimony. Look, even the subject is old news. And it stars this young couple. She's a paralegal secretary with a tight sweater on, and he's a live chicken delivery man. And they go off to a marriage counselor played by Professor Irwin Corey. It sounds better than it is. Then there are flashbacks to cavemen as Professor Corey tries to explain his theories of human relationships. One word about the title, Stuck on You. It's not too subtle. The two lovers decide to try body painting hippie style from the 60s, but they use glue instead of paint, so they get stuck together. Very funny. I wish they just glued the script together instead.
Okay, well, so much for the stinker. Now to recap our reactions to the main movies on the show. We both admired the adventure film Never Cry Wolf. 2 thumbs up. It stars Charles Martin Smith, a lot of wolves, and a few mice. We split on Francis Coppola's Rumblefish with Matt Dillon and Mickey Rourke. We also split on Julie Christie in Heat and Dust, Roger liking it more than I did. And finally, we both turned thumbs down on Educating Rita, with Michael Caine and Julie Walters.
So the one we both agreed on the most was Never Cry Wolf. It's a really good nature fiction.
Yeah, and not just for kids.
That's right. That's all for this week. Next week,